Hello and a very good evening. You're watching the news at 6 on Rajya Sabha television with me, Frank Pereira. Here are the headlines. Centre seeks report from Uttar Pradesh government on continuing violence in Saharanpur district. Home Ministry also asked for details on steps taken to restore peace. Narrow escape. Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis in Latur. His helicopter crash lands due to bad weather soon after takeoff. Prime Minister Narendra Modi underscores need to provide affordable healthcare to poor, urges Indian startups to manufacture medical equipment to reduce dependence on imports. And 11 people have been arrested in the Manchester blast case for having links with suicide bombers. UK outraged by alleged leak of intelligence in case by the US. Well, in the wake of clashes between two communities in the Saharanpur district of Uttar Pradesh, the Home Ministry on Thursday asked the Yogi Adityanath government to submit a report in the incident. Section 144 of the Criminal Penal Code was imposed on the district to maintain peace, while internet and mobile services were suspended to prevent the spread of rumours. Here's a report.
Even as the Yogi Adityanath government is in a firefighting mode to bring normalcy in the violence in Saharanpur, the centre on Thursday sought a report from the state government on the continuing violence in the district. The Home Ministry also asked for details on steps taken to restore peace. The violence has claimed 2 lives while several others were injured. Mobile and internet services were also suspended to maintain peace and ensure law and order.
इसमें जो दोषी लोग हैं या जिनसे संभावना है ब्रीच ऑफ पीस की, उनको पाबंद किया गया है, कार्रवाई की गई है और अभी और कार्रवाई की आवश्यकता है। सेंसिटिव एरिया आइडेंटिफाई करके उनको जोन्स में बांटा गया है। उसमें गस्टेड ऑफिसर्स पुलिस के और मजिस्ट्रेट्स लगे हुए हैं, वो भ्रमण कर रहे हैं, स्थिति असेस कर रहे हैं, उसके हिसाब से कार्रवाई भी कर रहे हैं।
Meanwhile, the fresh violence in Saharanpur sparked a political slugfest with both the BJP government and the BSP blaming each other.
जो मायावती जी आज वहाँ सहानुभूति जताने गई हैं, उन्हीं के कुछ लोगों की बोए हुए नफरत के जो बीज हैं, उसी का दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण परिणाम है।
यदि इस संगठन से बीएसपी के कुछ भी संबंध थे, तो इस बात का खुलासा इन्होंने मेरे सहारनपुर जिले में जाने से पहले मीडिया आदि में क्यों नहीं किया था, और अब वहां मेरे जाने के बाद इस तरह की ये बातें मीडिया में क्यों प्रचारित कराई जा रही हैं, तो इससे ये स्पष्ट जाहिर हो जाता है कि उत्तर प्रदेश सरकार के खुफिया विभाग की ये रिपोर्ट पूरी तरह से राजनीतिक द्वेष से प्रेरित है, झूठी है व सरासर गलत है।
Other opposition parties also accused the BJP of inciting communal tensions in Saharanpur.
जिस प्रकार से दलितों का दमन किया जा रहा है सहारनपुर में, वो दिल दहलाने वाला है। आजाद हिंदुस्तान में कभी इस प्रकार की दुर्घटना जो सहारनपुर में दलित भाइयों के साथ हुई, कभी ऐसी नहीं हुई, और ये सब सरकार के संरक्षण और उनकी मर्जी से हुआ।
भय का माहौल उत्तर प्रदेश में समा गया है। महिलाओं की कोई सुरक्षा नहीं है। इतना बड़ा जनादेश लेकर जनता के प्रति इतनी बड़ी गैर जिम्मेदारी और केवल बयान, कोई एक्शन नहीं, तो जनता जवाब जरूर मांगेगी इस पर।
That Rohit Memula has happened during this regime. Why it is that Pahlu Khan happens in this regime? Why it is that Saharanpur happens in this regime?
The state government has not been acting against who commit such atrocities against Dalits. And after all, Mr. Yogi has taken oath in the name of Constitution.
Earlier, the Saharanpur DM and SSP were suspended after they were unable to control the clashes between two communities in the area. The Divisional Commissioner and the DIG have been transferred out. Clashes occurred on Tuesday after BSP Supremo Mayawati's visit to Saharanpur. The state government also announced a compensation of 15 lakh rupees to the relatives of the people who were killed. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis had a narrow escape this afternoon after his chopper crash-landed in Latur when the pilot tried to descend because of bad weather soon after takeoff. All the 6 people on board, including Fadnavis, escaped unhurt. The helicopter got entangled in overhead wires at Nilanga area where the Chief Minister had gone to attend a program. The chopper suffered substantial damage in the crash and some vehicles and shanties were also damaged. Soon after the incident, the Chief Minister posted a video saying that he and the others on the chopper were safe. The Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau, which comes under the Civil Aviation Ministry, will investigate the mishap.
माझ्या हेलिकॉप्टरच्या ॲक्सिडेंटची एक न्यूज ऐकली असेल, पण आपल्या सर्वांच्या कृपेनं महाराष्ट्राच्या 11 कोटी 20 लाख जनतेच्या आशीर्वादानं, आई भवानीच्या आशीर्वादानं, विठ्ठलाच्या आशीर्वादानं मी अतिशय कुठलीही मला इजा झालेली नाही, मला काही लागलेलं नाही, मी अतिशय ठीक आहे.
जब हमने टेक ऑफ किया तो काफ़ी तेज हवा चल रही थी और लेकिन ओवर हाइट पे आने के बाद जब हमने टेक ऑफ इनिशिएट किया तो हवा एकदम कम हो गई और हवा कम होने की वजह से हेलीकॉप्टर नीचे आने लग गया. हमने और पावर लगाया लेकिन बीच में हाई टेंशन केबल था, तो हाई टेंशन केबल अवॉइड करने के लिए हमने अपना लैंडिंग गियर भी ऊपर लिया, लेकिन तब तक हेलीकॉप्टर केबल को टच कर गया.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has expressed the centre's aim to spend 2.5% of the GDP in the health sector in the coming years. Speaking at an event organized by the Tata Memorial Centre, Modi said around 6.5 lakh people die of cancer each year in the country, a number expected to double in the next 20 years. The Prime Minister also urged hospitals to work together for the research and cure of the disease.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has once again stressed on the need to provide affordable healthcare to the poor. Launching a book to mark Tata Memorial Centre's 75 years of social service, the Prime Minister urged startups to manufacture medical equipment in the country to reduce dependence on imports. Currently, close to 70% of medical equipment are imported, often raising the cost of treatment.
6.5 लाख लोग कैंसर की बीमारी से मृत्यु के शरण हो जाते हैं. अगले 20 वर्षों में ये संख्या डबल हो जाएगी. सस्ते आधुनिक नए मेडिकल डिवाइस उस दिशा में हमारे देश में कैसे काम हो, स्टार्टअप्स कैसे आगे आए, उस पर भी हम बल देना चाहते हैं. और इसलिए नई हेल्थ पॉलिसी की तरह सरकार मेडिकल डिवाइस भारत में ही निर्माण को प्रोत्साहन देने की दिशा में बहुत कदम उठा रही है.
The Prime Minister also talked about the national health policy, which aims to ensure affordable health cover to the needy.
जब हमारी सरकार बनी तो उस समय कैंसर 36 सेंटर्स कैंसर ग्रिड के साथ जुड़े हुए थे. आज 3 साल के बाद मैं संतोष के साथ कहता हूं कि इतने कम समय में ये संख्या 3 गुना करके 108 कैंसर सेंटर को इस ग्रिड के साथ जोड़ चुके हैं. गरीब से गरीब व्यक्ति को सस्ते से सस्ता इलाज मिले और अच्छे से अच्छी सुविधाओं के साथ मिले. इसी लक्ष्य को ध्यान में रखते हुए 15 वर्षों के बाद इस सरकार ने एक नए नेशनल हेल्थ पॉलिसी बनाई है.
Pointing out that cancer was one of the biggest challenges of our times, Prime Minister Modi also lauded Tata Memorial Hospital's contribution towards curing cancer. He said it was vital to create a common platform for patients to get affordable treatment and called on hospitals to work together for researching and treating the disease. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, the Supreme Court on Thursday refused to give an urgent hearing to a plea seeking cancellation of the National Eligibility Test held on May 7th. The apex court said that the Madras High Court is hearing the matter and had already stayed the publication of the NEET results. The petition filed by an NGO contended that the NEET exam was not conducted uniformly and that there should be a retest. The NGO also sought a direction for a CBI probe into the entire matter. The NEET was conducted on May 7th for admission to MBBS and PDS courses for academic year 2017 across the country. The Supreme Court will hear the plea next week. Well, here's a look now at some other developments from across the country in Nationwide. Veteran BJP leaders LK Advani, Murli Manohar Joshi and Uma Bharti have been asked to appear before a Lucknow court on May 30th in connection with the Babri Masjid demolition case. Charges would be framed against the leaders on the set date, and the court has warned there would be no exemptions. A special CBI court is hearing the case against Advani and others after the Supreme Court last month ordered restoration of criminal conspiracy charges against them. Indian national Uzma, who accused a Pakistani man of forcing her to marry him at gunpoint, returned to India today. She was escorted by the officials of the Indian High Commission. Speaking to the media after being welcomed by External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj, Uzma claimed that she was tortured and threatened. A special CBI court on Wednesday granted bail to 5 accused in the Jharkhand coal block allocation case. The accused include Jindal Steel's advisor Anand Goel. The case pertains to the allocation of Amarkonda coal block in 1993. The court has directed the accused persons to neither tamper with evidence nor influence witnesses. The case will be next heard on July 10th. The Enforcement Directorate has conducted searches at around 10 locations in Delhi and Haryana in connection with the alleged irregularities in land acquisition in Gurugram's Manesar region. The farmers and landowners were cheated to the tune of 1,500 crore rupees. Former Haryana Chief Minister Bhupinder Singh Hooda was also named as an accused in the FIR registered by the probe agency in September last year under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. BJP workers clashed with police in Kolkata during their march to the police headquarters. The protesters were demanding the arrest of corrupt TMC leaders, which prompted the force to use tear gas shells, water cannons and batons to disperse them. Huge police deployment was made at different points in the city to maintain law and order. Time for a short break now, but news and updates will continue on the other side. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
This centre really will drive many new initiatives in many areas of science. We do have some institutes of excellence throughout the country, and TIFR is one, but they're not enough. I think the laboratory approach is essential in order to promote the idea of tinkering.
Watch Eureka with Professor Mustansir Verma, Emeritus Professor at TCIS TIFR Hyderabad, only on Rajya Sabha television. Jade was popular during Mughal era and gained prominence during Akbar's rule in 15th and 16th century. It came all the way from Iran and Central Asia in attractive colors. The royalty had a unique use for it. Since jade changed color when it came in contact with arsenic, they started utensils like plates, jars, bowls, and even hookah with it, and thereby avoided getting poisoned by rivals.
Art arisen from a multi-hued cultural canvas. Tradition and cultural fervor dating back centuries. And encircling them all, there's a magic that awes. Embrace your nation's brilliant human warmth. Watch Colours of India, Sundays at 9:30 p.m. on Rajya Sabha television.
Mihir Sen, an outstanding and extraordinary saltwater swimmer of India. He is the first Asian to swim the English Channel way back in 1958. And just 8 years later, in 1966, he swam the 7 seas of the 5 continents in 1 calendar year, which etched his name in the Guinness Book of World Records. In 1959, he was also conferred the Padma Shri, and in 1967, he was awarded the Padma Bhushan.
Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha television. Let's now get you the latest on the probe into the Manchester blast. 11 people have been arrested so far, including a woman, for having links with a 22-year-old suicide bomber. While the probe continues, the British government is caught up with a different problem: alleged leak of intelligence and information about the blast by the US. Here are the details. 2 leaks in as many days, allegedly by the US, has got the British police outraged. So much so that they have stopped sharing information with America about the probe. The BBC reports that UK officials are very upset about photos in the New York Times which show debris from the Manchester Arena attack. This came after the name of bomber Salman Abedi was leaked to US media just hours after the blast. Prime Minister Theresa May is expected to raise concerns with US President Donald Trump during the NATO meeting later today.
I will make clear to President Trump that intelligence that is shared between our law enforcement agencies must remain secure. Tomorrow I will be attending the G7 summit in Italy, where I will lead a discussion on counter-terrorism and on how we will work together to prevent the plotting of terrorist attacks online and to stop the spread of hateful extremist ideology on social media.
Greater Manchester Police, which is leading the investigation on the ground, gives its information to National Counter-Terrorism, which then shares it across governments. Speaking to the media about the latest on the probe, the police chief claimed that the suicide bomber was definitely part of a network.
I think it's very clear that this is a network that we are investigating, and as I've said, it continues at a pace. There's extensive investigations going on and activity taking place across Greater Manchester as we speak.
8 men and 1 woman have been arrested in the UK since Monday night, including Abedi's older brother Ismail. Abedi's younger brother and father were also held by special forces in Libya's capital Tripoli. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television. Well, the Manchester attack is set to be the highlight of talks when NATO leaders meet in Brussels later this evening to address the alliance's role in a fight against terrorism and fairer burden sharing with the member countries. Ahead of the meeting, NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg condemned the attack in Manchester, saying that countering terrorism requires a coordinated response. NATO leaders are also expected to take decisions to increase the alliance's support to the global coalition to defeat ISIS. Security has been tightened in Belgium's capital, Brussels, which will host NATO leaders, including United States President Donald Trump, who has earlier called the alliance obsolete.
I welcome yesterday's US budget proposal to significantly further increase the US presence in Europe with more troops, infrastructure and exercises. I welcome this strong sign of US continued commitment to NATO and to European security. NATO is adapting to deter any possible aggression and preserve the peace. At the same time, we have delivered on our commitment to dialogue with Russia, with 4 meetings of the NATO-Russia Council in the last year. So we are delivering on both tracks of defense and dialogue.
Meanwhile, China has raised strong objections to the US sending a warship near an artificial island in the disputed South China Sea. The Chinese government has termed the act provocative, one that violates its sovereignty. The guided missile destroyer USS Dewey conducted a patrol within 20 kilometers of Mischief Reef, which is part in the Spratly Islands that are claimed by several countries, including China. The US says that the patrol was not about any one country or any one body of water and was conducted in accordance with international law. China, however, says that the US warship had entered the South China Sea without permission. China claims almost all of the South China Sea, but Taiwan, the Philippines, Brunei, Malaysia and Vietnam have rival claims over the region.
美方军舰有关行为损害了中国的主权和安全利益，极易引发海空意外事件。中方对此表示强烈不满和坚决反对。中国对南沙群岛及其附近海域拥有无可争辩的主权。我们一向尊重和维护各国依据国际法在南海享有的航行和飞越自由，但是我们坚决反对任何国家以航行和飞越自由为名损害中国的主权和安全利益。
Here's a roundup of some of the other international news in Global Buzz. Indonesia's anti-terrorism unit raided the home of a suspected suicide bomber on Thursday. 3 police officers were killed in 2 blasts that took place in Jakarta on Wednesday that authorities believe is linked to the Islamic State group. 6 police officers and 6 civilians were also wounded in the twin blasts that were detonated 5 minutes apart by 2 suspected attackers. The attack was the deadliest in Indonesia since January 2016. Rocket Lab, a Silicon Valley-funded space launch company, launched the maiden flight of its battery-powered 3D print rocket from New Zealand. The successful launch of the rocket is an important step for New Zealand in the commercial race. The country is also planning to send satellites bound for a north-to-south orbit around the poles. China said on Thursday that WHO has justified the exclusion of Taiwan from the ongoing 70th World Health Assembly. China said that the international community recognizes the One China principle according to the UN Security Council resolution and WHO resolution. Taiwan has been participating in the assembly since 2009 with the observer status as Chinese Taipei. Let's shift focus now and bring you some updates from the world of sports and SportsBeat. The Indian cricket team reached England for the ICC Champions Trophy, which begins from June 1st. Yuvraj Singh, Rohit Sharma and Mohammad Shami have returned to the side, which will be led by Virat Kohli. India, who are the defending champions, will play 2 practice matches before their opening encounter against arch-rivals Pakistan on June 4th. Manchester United won the Europa League title after beating Ajax 2-0 in the final on Wednesday. Paul Pogba's deflected shot put United ahead in the 18th minute. Henrik Mkhitaryan scored the lead, double the lead, with his 6th goal of the campaign as United claimed their second major trophy of the season, having won the EFL Cup earlier in the season. With this win, United became the 5th team to claim the All-European trophies. Spain's Supreme Court confirmed a 21-month jail sentence and $2.25 million fine imposed on Argentinian footballer Lionel Messi for tax fraud. Messi, however, is unlikely to go to prison as prison terms of under 2 years can be served under probation in Spain. Messi and his father Jorge, who manages his finances, were both convicted in 2016 of defrauding Spain of $4.6 million in taxes. Well, that's it on this newscast. Have a good evening.